Like you saw in the intro, I'm going to show you how to make a face in plants. So we're basically just going to start with a face. In that case, I just looked for Abraham Lincoln clip art and imported it, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm going to do here is start from a picture. And I've already got it in GIMP. This is a recognizable face that we've got here. So I make sure that everything is selected. So, that's Control A, selects all. And I'm going to go to Colors. I'm going to go to Hue and Saturation and bring the saturation all the way down to 0, so it's a black and white image now, or a grayscale image rather. So then I'm going to go to Colors, Adjust Brightness, and I'm going to turn my contrast way up. And you can see that this is still recognizable the way it is. And in this case, I don't want his clothes. So I'm going to go to the lasso select tool, or free select tool here, and I'm going to chop out his clothes real quick. And I'm actually going to go under here so it doesn't look like I'm getting his waddle too much. So I'm just going to go all the way around this, like this, and double click to close it, delete. I'm going to catch some of this dark stuff right here, just because I'll have a little bit of an outline of his hair. I'm not going to try and make this really good. You can do Beziers and all that to curve around his hair better if you like. People make fun of this guy for his hair. So if you want to take his hair seriously, that's totally up to you. Okay, double click to select that, delete that, and I'm going to go to the crop tool. That was the scissors there. Select what I want to keep and hit enter. So now I've got a black and white image that started off from a photo, and I'm going to export it as, I'm actually going to export it as the same name. Should be in the reference here. Should be Trump. Let's go to Trump. Export that guy right there. And we're done in GIMP now. So now I'm almost there. Now we're done. So now I'm going to go to Inkscape and bring that picture that I just saved into Inkscape. See, that's a pretty recognizable picture of him. And then what we're going to do is go to Path, Trace Bitmap. And we're going to trace, I mean, even though it's a PNG, it's still a bitmap file, so to speak, because it's mapped. It's a raster image. So we don't have to change anything in this because I think it's going to turn out okay the way these settings are. But Trace Bitmaps, a little applet will pop up, and just click OK. And I'm going to close it now, that trace bitmap thing. I'm going to drag this one because the original raster image is still there, and I don't know which one it is. I think usually the path is the one that's on the top. So what I do is I select whichever one I want to test, and I hit F2. And if I see a bunch of handles like I do here, then I know that it's a path. If I select this raster and I hit F2, I'm not going to get any handles because it's not a path at all. So I go back to F1 to select it. Just going to delete this one. I'm going to drag this back over here, and when I hit F2, you could see that that's a really complex path there. Oopsie. That's really complex. So I'm going to go back to F1, and I'm going to go to Path, Simplify. And that kind of cleans that up. If I go to F2 again, you can see that there's a lot less handles in there. Now, I believe that I might actually be able to simplify it again. Well, it didn't simplify it anymore. But that's okay. But you can see that the image is quite a bit simpler. If I wanted to, I could go through and clean out all these little dots that are all over the place, but I'm not going to worry about that. This is good enough. So I'm going to save. It's saving as Trump SVG. Then I'm going to go into Blender. And in Blender, I'm going to import, get over there you, import SVG. Now I've already got it opening into my folder here that has all my Inkscape files, and I know that it's called Trump SVG. Now, I'm not really sure where it went on the screen here, but it's probably curve 001 because I already had a curve on here from when I was messing around here before. If I select this curve up here, you can see there's my handles. I'm going to take that and put it back on this flat spot where I want it. And hit F7. I hit 7 to get the top. And I can see that it's way up higher than what I want it to be at. So if I hit 7 again to get the top view, you can see it's real tiny. So I'm just going to scale it up. Scale it way up. Scale it up. And scale it again. Now, a lot of times I will, if I'm going to mess with this quite a bit, then what I would do is transform, well, first I'm going to convert it. I'm going to convert it to a mesh. So Alt-C will convert to mesh, or you can hit spacebar and type in conv. And here you can see conv. And there's your hotkeys right there to get that. So anything that you're ever searching for, you can always press the space key and then just type in whatever it is that you're trying to get. So it's Alt-C, and I've now converted it into a mesh, and I usually like to put the origin to geometry, and that'll put my handles in the middle of it. Anyway, so I pretty much like that look right there. Let's go to material. And I'm going to drop him lower than the ground. There. He disappeared right under the ground. Go back to 7 again. And I already had some particle systems already set up from before. But what I'm doing now is using those particle systems again. So I made it so that there's some grass peeking out. Now it doesn't look like it's peeking out enough, so I'm gonna hold shift to make, you know, small adjustments to where it is, because the grass is not really sticking up as high as I'd like it to. Trying to adjust this. Because I have so many on here. I have 5,000. I'm just going to turn down this to 100 for a bit so I can make these adjust. There's the head sticking out. There we go. Anyway, the shift key will allow you to bring it up very slowly and back down very slowly. So I'm going to turn off the visualization on this and turn it back to 5,000 because that's where I want it to be. Then I'm going to add another one, because I know that I have another one set up called twigs. And now I've got twigs. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go to 7. Anyway, so basically all I did was, if I take my, ooh, that guy's sticking out. That's no good. If I take, I'm going to bring that down. Oops. I'm going to grab Z. Okay. That's no good. Okay, that's better. Anyway, so if I hit render now, I should see plants and stuff in the shape of Trump's head. So I can see that his head is right here. I'm going to bring, no, I'm just going to render it now. So the main thing is, what I've done basically is taken an image, taken all the color out of it, brought up the contrast so that I only have blacks and whites, not grays anymore. Then I imported it into Inkscape and made a path. Now there's a way you can make it into a path with GIMP itself, but I prefer to do it in Inkscape because paths are easier to work with in Inkscape, I think. But here you can see a Trump-shaped grove of grass in the middle of a desert. And you could do that basically with any face. You know, you kind of would want to mess around with the face to see what would be the easiest ones that give the best results. You know, the one that I did before, like I said, was an Abraham Lincoln face, which I'm bringing up right now to show you. And this is highly recognizable, but it was, you know, designed as a clip art. So I mean, it's simplified. It doesn't have all the dots that my picture had in it. But you could pretty much do it with any face that you wanted to and get this kind of result. You could make like a hedge maze with an image like this. Maybe I'll do that on some other intro. We'll see. Anyway, so that is about the end of it. Thank you for watching.